Kings do not know everything. We need information. We need enlightenment. And we need the commandments of the Lord to tell us, this is the way to go, and this is what to do. And then the Lord, King of Kings, told the junior king, earthly king, Abimelech, this is what to do. You will restore this man, his wife. What you have taken, that tells us something. God is an impartial God. It's not going to say because somebody is a king, because somebody is a ruler, he can do anything and get away with it. So he said, restore this man, his wife. If you don't, I, as the king over the whole universe, this is what I will do. And wonderful enough, Abimelech the king restored the man, his wife. And God said, and if you check up in that Genesis chapter 20 verse 7, God said, Abraham will pray for you. And then God said something significant, because he is a prophet. And that's the first chapter in the Bible. You'll find those two words together. You don't find that before that chapter, the king and the prophet. But then it interests me. Now begin to find out, as you look at the whole Bible now, especially the Old Testament, where you have the king and the prophet, the king and the prophet. I begin to find out, number one, God has brought those two offices together. And the Bible says, what God has joined together, let no man complete it very well, put asunder. I think the church has been ignorant of that. And the kingdoms in our land have been ignorant of that too. It looks like we go in different directions. The kings go this way, and church people, the prophets, go this way. And I'm here to say this afternoon, God has brought the king and the prophets together. Don't let us put that asunder. Now, what, as you look at the Bible, starting from that Genesis chapter 20, what relationship do they have? God himself said, he will pray for you. So, number one, the prophet prays for the king. We need the prayer of the prophet that God himself has traced up, so that our leading, our ruling, our reigning will be a time of peace. And as I come to Ogoni Land this time, I believe the peace of God will begin to reign in this land. I look at these kings and prophets, number two. I see that the prophets will present the king before the King of Kings. That is the king, that's a little king, a small king. The King of Kings, that the Lord of Lords, is the capital king. Number one, the prophet prays for the king. Number two, the prophet presents the king, capital K, to the king, the little king. He tells him, here you are to rule. You're like an under shepherd. The final day will come. Everything you've done in the kingdom, underneath the King of Kings, you're going to tell him, I did this, I did this, I did this. And he's going to have the final say. He's going to say, this was right, or this was wrong. And while we're not here, is the responsibility of the prophet to present the big, great king to our kings. That's why we who are preachers, who are pastors and prophets, should not be far away from the kings who are leading in our various lands, so that we can present what the King of Kings is expecting from our rulers. Not only that, it is the prophet, number three now, that will also present the king over here to the King of Kings, to say, this is our king here. He's doing this, he's doing this. Give him grace, give him strength, give him wisdom, give him knowledge, give him understanding. So we stand in between the little king and the great king. We stand in between the earthly king and the heavenly king, so that we're presenting the one in heaven to the one on earth, and we're presenting the one on earth, we're presenting him to the one in heaven. As I look at the kings and the prophets in the Bible, I also see that the king here needs information about the future in our land. Somebody will have a child and say, the name of the child in our language is who knows tomorrow. And because we don't know tomorrow, we make a lot of mistakes. But because God knows the end from the beginning, He brings His word, He tells the prophet, go tell this king. If you go through the Bible, you're going to find out that the prophet prophesies concerning the future to the king. He'll tell him, king, you are taking this step, you don't know the outcome. This will be the outcome. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 70 years, this will be the outcome. So the prophet prophesies to the king. And then the king does something. When the king and the prophet, they are together, and they say, look at the word synergize. That is, they are cooperating together to move the kingdom forward. The prophet will now preach to the kingdom. It's been with the king, and now it's going to give a helping hand to the work of the kingdom, to make the work of the king easier. And that's one of the reasons why we're here. As our state of affairs was talking